It's Sunday, December 15th, 2019, and this is the Pro and the Con Show, and I'm your host, Michael James Ott. Welcome to the show. So, again, I'm doing these shows almost every day, trying to encourage all of us to be better citizens. And so there's some components to that. One of them, focus every single day, is to focus on the facts, which is pretty hard to get to these days. But the facts are the who, the what, the where, and the when. And all this other stuff about, well, what do you think it means to the election or to the future of the Democratic Party, or that's all conjecture and bias, and you need to ignore it and form your own opinions. Focus on the who, the what, the where, and the when. Hopefully get those from sources like some of the original news networks like ABC, CBS, NPR, National Public Radio, PBS, Public Broadcasting. These are all sources of, the who, the what, the where, and the when. Okay, now today's topic, not going to go through some of the different information streams and look at the different bias that they have on some of the news of the day. Instead, my wife and I went to see a movie today, and it's called Dark Waters, and it's based on a true story, and it's about the environmental pollution that one of our largest corporate corporations, DuPont. Their tagline for many years, don't know if it's still true, but for many years their tagline was "Better Living Through Chemistry." And, they did a lot of very positive things, but one of the negative things that they have done, and most of this information in the movie must be fairly factual, otherwise a large corporation like DuPont would exert tremendous legal pressure on the company that made the film. So, and my recollection of news stories and stuff from years ago is a lot of this story was true. But DuPont, in the course of making Teflon, which is, all of us know Teflon, the frying pans inside of, saucepans, soup kettles, all this kind of stuff, Teflon. And kind of this ubiquitous material that, admittedly made life a lot easier for me anyway, trying to wash these things out over the years. Always much less effort required compared to just a metal pan. Problem is, and especially involved on the side of the manufacturing, there was some pretty toxic stuff that went unregulated because we were not sophisticated enough to know what was and was not kind of harmful to animals and people, as it turns out. And so DuPont was greedy. So greed is the title of this show today, is greed, and specifically corporate greed. And wow, so you watch this movie and it kind of walks you through this decades-long effort by DuPont to promote and market this Teflon material, which was a very profitable material and associated product line for them for decades. It was, I think in the movie they mentioned it's like $1 billion a year or something like this. So it's really a big thing. And unfortunately, they did not take enough safeguards, and I'm sure in the early days they didn't realize, the first few years, but then they came to realize, and based on their internal testing and internal medical exams and stuff like that, they knew that employees needed to be safeguarded against some of the processes where this material was made and so on, and that some of the waste materials from the processes and waste materials were problematic in the environment. And but they just kept going. Why? Because of greed. Because of greed. Because the senior managers at DuPont were making big money, and willing to let animals and humans suffer quite a bit while they continue to make money. And so this, so one of the things that I've talked about in the past is, our corporations have the wrong mandate. They have the wrong vision. And so, every corporation, if you're in business, the customer has to be number one. You have to have customers. Okay, if you don't have customers, you don't have a business. But right behind that, right now, they say shareholders. So we're going to do all this stuff for shareholders. Of course, some of the most senior managers in these corporations are big shareholders. That's part of their significant part of their compensation. And but that's wrong. It should be the employees in general should be the number two on the list of priorities for any company and corporation. So customers, and then the employees. And that in turn speaks to the fact that all of us, have the wrong definition of success. We've had the wrong definition for hundreds, and if not thousands and thousands of years. And that wrong definition talks about the accumulation of wealth, influence, and power. And if you think about the case with DuPont, this is exactly, all of the problems, the cancers, the deformities, birth deformities. There was a laundry list of major health problems for people exposed to some of the industrial waste, and for employees within DuPont. All of that would have been avoided if the definition of success was not the accumulation of wealth, influence, and power, but instead was accumulation of service to the planet and the people on it. So we can fix it. All of us can decide, and going back to the redefining success in your life and redefining how you view success in others. This is something that you can do today. This is something, again, I talk about. You don't need an amendment to the Constitution. You don't need the House of Representatives to introduce a bill and be voted on by the Senate and signed by the President. You don't need the permission of your spouse. You don't need the permission of your employer. You don't need your parents' permission. The only thing you need to do is decide now, today, or sometime in the future. Okay, if you don't want to decide today, then decide tomorrow. But please adopt a different definition of success. Service to the planet and the people on it. That's my definition. I hope it becomes yours and your neighbors and your friends and your families and your coworkers. Because when it does, you're going to see tremendous changes in the quality of life on this planet. For the Pro and Con Show, I'm Michael James Ott. Until the next show, bye for now.